Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicked off the day, was able to walk past the Honda because the junkyard parts work better than the Rock Auto SKF parts. Man, mosquitoes are in here already. I forgot to bring me some off. Time to get this angle gear sleeve on. It's not going in quite easy, but we'll tap it on. Stop that coolant leak there. Put the angle gear on. Hook up the shaft. Get the power steering stuff done. Keep this train moving. I think the clutch is bled. That still should be good. Let me go get some light and get this stuff worked out. I beat this in and it looks like the splines are almost even with the end of the transmission shaft, and it stopped. The clip ring is pushed out, so I'm gonna tap that clip ring in and see if the clip ring touches that shaft, because it did stop. I hear a different clunking sound now when I tap on it with this press tool. I set this up here like this and tapped it in until the sound changed, and the sound surely changed, and it is not going in anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to stop this coolant leak and put the angle gear on. I took this socket and tapped it in here on this clip ring, and that clip ring sat right up against that transmission shaft, so we're good to go. This angle gear on. Remember, I resealed this thing all except for this seal up here. Had this thing apart and had to put tension on it with that, they call it a crown nut or something back there. Anyway, when you tighten that down, this thing shouldn't be so tight that you flip it over trying to turn this cone. So it should turn without flipping this thing over. There's a potentiometer you could put on the end of it. Turn it both ways, like 15 inch-pounds of pressure or something on there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wipe this out and slap this thing on here. Cross my fingers that it lasts for this guy, and he won't have any issues with it. Got a new collar and all that jazz, so here we go. Got the angle gear in. I would set the top 2 bolts in the holes and then push the angle gear on. It slid on relatively easy. Tightened all those bolts down. Make sure that the drive shaft is in the cone up there. And I put the axles in, tighten these carrier bolts. I torqued the subframe bolts 77 plus 120 degrees. And I put the little bolts in behind them, tighten those down. Now I'm getting ready to service this manual transmission, because when you pull those axles and sleeves and all that stuff out, it leaks fluid. Probably lost about 8 ounces of fluid or so. That's the bolt in there, right there, tip of my finger. Maybe 24 millimeter, pull it out, pump fluid in there till it starts coming out the hole, and then you're full. Most people use 75-90. Brian is going to use this AMSOIL here. Severe gear, 100% synthetic gear lube, boy. Towing, terrain, temperature is for severe. Special tool was barely working getting that collar sleeve out. Since we had a busted angle gear, we took this and Brian welded it to that sleeve, and then I started whacking this gear with a sledgehammer. You can see the damage there. Within 30 seconds, that thing was out. No more sleeve, no more angle gear port. That stuff is done. 24-inch socket fits on that drain bolt on that transmission. And this is a deep socket and some other kind of multi-use tool. Not sure what, but it has been used for something else. I don't think it's possible to get this CV axle in unless your knuckle bolts are attached to your strut. So the first thing I did here was hooked up the bolts from the knuckle to the strut. Then I put a long something to pry in this hole. Pried this down. Then I stuck the axle in the back of the spindle and the hub, got that started. Then I put that wedge piece on the ball joint, and then I put all my weight on this thing to get it down low enough to get that ball joint and that control arm. Got it in place. Now I'm going to lean on it again and tighten it up, torque it down. Then I'll put this bolt in here, torque it to 50 foot-pounds and 90 degrees. Whoo-wee! I'm surprised at how hard it is to get this contraption together. I broke a sweat. Anyway, I got the knuckles attached, got the ball joint torqued down, getting ready to torque down the knuckle bolts to the strut. Then I'm going to put the rotors on and torque the calipers on. I got the anti-sway bar end links torqued on, and now I'm getting ready to put the bolt in this ABS sensor. That needs to be put in. That screw's missing. I usually put the screws back in the hole, so I might have had a little help with that. Yeah, see, bolt's there for that one. Anyway, I'm gonna keep chugging along after I get some water, man. I need some water after getting these control arms together and keep this train moving. I need to call Maddie. I'm supposed to be up there to help her in about 45 minutes, and that's going to take me 2-3 hours to get up there from here. Got all the screws in this drive shaft and tight. The new screws have a 8mm hex, and the old screws has a 6mm hex. Had to remove this bracket, pull this brake line back down under here. That's a strange thing for the brake lines to run under this. There's a clip for it there, and this clips into this little dust shield I'm about to put up. And then I'll be pretty much done. Under the car, I'll have to drop the car and change the power steering pump and hook up the battery and put on the wheels. Well, folks, wheels are on. We are ready to come down to the ground. I'm going to drop this thing down to the ground, torque the wheels, torque the CV axles, replace the power steering pump reservoir, fill that up, and disconnect fuel and ignition, crank this thing till we get oil pressure, and we're ready to fire this thing up. Put a newer style power steering reservoir in. We have everything hooked up, got the battery hooked up. We pulled a fuse number 11 and 6. Number 6 says ECM, fuel injectors, stuff like that. Number 11 is ignition coils, and we're going to crank it till our low oil pressure light goes out. But we're going to change the oil filter first. Got to push in the clutch to crank it. Won't crank? I don't know. It won't crank? Probably our ECU fuse. Had to reinstall the ECU fuse. Okay. Trying to get rid of the low oil pressure light. It went out? I'll look under it, see if anything's leaking. Any leaky. I don't see much under here. Probably drops that we already had. No, go ahead, Amari. It sounds like you letting go of the starter and re-engaging it. All right. Opening the garage door, get ready to fire her up. Let her rip. Power steering pump noise. Ooh-wee, look at that smoke. I don't see anything dripping. That's good. Kicking off the Tinker evening at Solano Community College. Check that out, folks.
Vallejo, California.
We're kind of on the north side a little bit of the Bay Area in Vallejo, California. About to hit this platinum wagon hard with a manual swap and some way overdue maintenance. About to have some fun next couple of days. We got Maddie here and Andrew. Andrew's the boss man, and man, we got lifts and all kind of toys. We get to do this right and fast. So we're gonna lift it up, drop the fluids, then start taking this package out. Maybe have this thing on the ground by the night. Ready, looking like the oil is, ooh, has some water in it. Man, I ain't never seen oil run that fast. That's like dirty water. Ooh. Well, we'll see if we got anything, because next we're going to drain the radiator. This oilish stuff here running out fast. Check that out for all you mechanics that won't never let me touch your snap-on tools. I'm touching snap-on tools now, baby. Woohoo! Even the power wrench is snap-on. We are moving right along. We have the upper transmission line disconnected. We have the battery out, battery tray loose. We got the brake booster line loose. We got the fan out. We got the upper oil cooler line loose. We're going to get the bottom one. We got the ECU harness disconnected. We are about to capture the refrigerant so we don't have to struggle with that AC compressor down there and keep this train moving. Oh, we're going to disconnect this throttle body line. You pull this clip up, unwind it, set that out of the way. We got that disconnected there, and then we'll have to pull wheels, axles, drop the subframe, and this thing will be down. Got several things done with this 850. Half of the suspension's disconnected. We're going to take the struts off, control arms off. They have new parts for all of that stuff. After we get the CV axles out with these suspension parts off, we're pretty much ready to drop this cradle onto a pallet so that we can get this stuff out and transfer our new power plant onto this thing. So this was the transmission that was on this engine, and this engine is going in the car. It's out of a 1998 Volvo V70R. And we're going to put new timing components on there and put a manual transmission and the flywheels and stuff like that on there. We're going to check the turbo, make sure it feels good, and that stuff's going in this car. We also have a manual transmission and things like that. So we are wrapping up for the night at the Solano Community College that specializes in automotive training for people. So if you have any questions, I'll put a link to their website there. World-class quality equipment, tools here to help you learn the things you need to learn, and Like I said, it's just on the north side of San Francisco, probably 20-30 minutes in Solano, California. So until tomorrow, we're going to be back on this 850. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.